Good evening. This is the Duke of Fremont Street in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today is October 13th, 2021. It's been a rather successful day on the market today. We've gone up a bit, and I think we're going to have many more of these great days ahead of us. Before starting my short video, I would like to thank you for stopping by and ask you to please subscribe to my channel and to share my videos with your friends, family, and associates. Salute. Absolutely outstanding. In this evening's video, I would like to just, I'll keep it brief. I've had a lot of my associates over the years ask, Duke, how do I know if this is real? Duke, am I offending you by asking you such questions and so forth? These are all legitimate questions. And if you're purchasing precious metals, you want to protect yourself. It's a dark and dangerous world sometimes. And not everybody's going to be out for your best interest. There's an old saying, and I live by it, you're as good as the people you deal with. So choose your suppliers wisely. I think to start with, you should do your research. I've dealt with doctors and lawyers and judges and officers in the military that are absolutely on top of their game when it comes to what they're doing. When they get into the precious metals arena, they're somewhat baffled and unknowledgeable. And so the first thing I ask them to do is step back and take a deep breath and grab a cup of coffee or tea or champagne and the little pen and paper and write down their goals, what they wish to accomplish, what they have in mind. And each person that I've ever met has a different objective. So find out what your mission is going to be, find out what your objective is going to be, and then pursue it with passion. When people say, oh, Duke, this is a nice thing you do, it must be a really interesting hobby, or it must be a nice pastime. I just bite my lower lip. It's none of the above. To me, this is a passion. This is water going through my gills. When the market's closed, I sit and watch my computer or watch waiting for the markets to open. To me, it's like the game of life. It's never ending. And it's one of the reasons I moved to Las Vegas. I love the action. So, I'm in this all in. I'm totally dedicated and devoted to what I'm doing here. In answer to people's other questions about how do they know if it's real, there are certain items you can pick up on the market. Some of them are somewhat expensive, that will test, the diameters, the weights, the composition of the metal that you're buying. If you want to forsake that for the moment, I recommend that you deal with reputable people. There are a myriad of reputable people out there, and that's going to be your decision who you decide to do business with. I have been in this game for decades, literally decades. I started collecting in 1957, which was a little while back. I consider myself a purveyor and a treasure hunter of relics, antiquities, numismatic coins, vintage United States currency, and bullion. So with that being said, I specialize in all those areas and am excited about all those areas. People have asked me today, Duke, should you be a collector, a speculator, an investor, a hedger against inflation? What should you be? That's totally going to be your call. I started collecting, as I mentioned, in 1957. And generally speaking, when people ask me what's the average age of a collector, I tell them dead. We live in a new world where everything is cell phones and computers and laptops, and people don't seem, generally speaking, I'm speaking in generalities, generally don't have the knack for collecting that they did back in the day. I don't believe you're turned into a collector. I believe you're born a collector. Back in the early 50s, I grew up in a very modest household, and I had nothing to collect. So I collected rocks, or I collected seeds, orange seeds and apple seeds and watermelon seeds, and made little army men out of them, that sort of thing, because I had it in me to acquire and collect. So as I grew older, I, evolved and started collecting pennies, and went to nickels and then to mercury dimes and so forth, until we get to the modern era, and I collect all of the above. Any form of silver or any form of gold. Anyway, as I said, you're as good as the people you deal with. Be cautious. Take everything with a grain of salt. I'm from Missouri originally. Yeah, it's Missouri. And that's the show me state. And generally speaking, Missourians don't believe anything until you show them. They don't believe who you are until you show them who you are. So do your research. Take your time, for goodness sakes. Take your time. There's no hurry. If you miss a move, don't worry, there'll be other moves. Do things in your own time frame. Don't allow anybody to bamboozle you or hoodwink you into going out of your comfort zone. In answer to your question about should you be a collector, an investor, a speculator, that's totally up to you. I think the collector's world is going south. I think the stackers are winning the race. And I adapt to the world that I live in. So I've been concentrating more on the precious metals, the bullion. Don't get me wrong, I haven't forsaken the numismatic coins, but they're more on a back burner. They're not dead to me. They're shelved, and I pull the book out on that shelf every now and then. If you do happen to get involved with the stacking and so forth, I believe the physical is the only way to go. Silver and gold, I'll speak in silver in particular, it's tangible. It's tangible, it's real, it's not virtual. I don't believe in virtual. I believe in tangible. And everything I do is face to face. Almost every one of my transactions is in person. I have a website called ibuycoins.com, and I shamefully haven't paid much attention to it because most of my energy is devoted to the here and the now. So if you see that website and you see that it's lagging behind or the information is somewhat outdated, that's because this old dinosaur is also outdated with his archaic ways and notions. Anyway, I've been a purveyor, as I said, for many, many decades. And on my quest, I've traveled 6 continents, into the jungles of South and Central America, into the savannas of Africa, and the Far East, and India, and all over, virtually all over. And it's been a fascinating journey. I'm not speaking in the past tense. Thus far, it's been a fascinating journey. And my byline is the adventure continues. So if you happen to come across me here in Vegas, I would love to meet you in person, and I will buy your coins or sell to either one. That's going to be totally up to you. As I mentioned before, buying online is a great option. There's many reputable multi-billion-dollar conglomerates there online that offer great products at great prices. Be somewhat cautious. I've had my own clients jump ship with me and jump online with some companies, and there's been some real horror stories with that. One gentleman in particular sent $7,500 in certified check to one of the companies, pardon me, that cashed his check, and after 2 weeks he calls, and 3 weeks he calls, and 4 weeks he calls. After 4 or 5 weeks, the janitor answers the phone and said, well, weren't you aware they went bankrupt? So he had absolutely no recourse. There was nothing he could do about it. If you're dealing with someone in person, you do have recourse. I guarantee personally anything that I sell. Have I been burned? You bet. So many times. And the buck stops here. I've actually taken the hits on a lot of this stuff. This is being a purveyor or a trader in the precious metals has its pros and cons. First of all, let me say, I wouldn't trade places with anybody on the planet, not anyone. I love my life. I love what I'm doing. I would caution anybody that wants to do what I'm doing to be, very vigilant. It can be dangerous. On occasion, I've been kidnapped. I've been tortured. I've had attempts on my life. I've been robbed on multiple occasions. I call those bad hands in the game of life. So, you hope that those events don't take place, but you never know what's going on in somebody's mind. And most of the negative experiences I've had have been with associates, people that I had dealt with on multiple occasions. So you can't be too cautious. You can't be cautious. I would say carry on with what you're doing. If you love the metals like I do, I think that, I know that you will be rewarded in the near future with your interest and your stacking. So don't get discouraged. There are many out there that would prefer you to go away and prefer you to trust in something other than the precious metals. I believe in them wholeheartedly. This is one of my favorite here. I brought these out just because they look so cool. This is the old American silver dollar. Yeah, I love these things. This is probably my favorite of the coins. It has a feel to it and a weight to it, and you just know it has value. And the funny thing is, when it was minted, it was worth $1. It has $1 face value. And today, I'm just guesstimating, you couldn't find one for $30. So it has the same face value, but the intrinsic silver value has gone up, plus you have the numismatic value. Oh, people have commented, this is off the subject a bit, about my beautiful pistol. This is one of many in my collection. This is a hand-engraved pearl handle Smith & Wesson 38 cal. And it's one of my prized possessions. This particular pistol, when I purchased it from a very dear friend of mine, he gave me paperwork with it that purportedly it had been in the possession or owned by Benny Siegel, who is a very well-known figure here in Las Vegas. So if you don't know Benny Siegel, look him up. And it may or may not have been owned by him, but I guarantee you one thing right now, this is owned by me. And eventually I may even take the strap here and put Duke. So if something happens to me, it is passed on to my sons or whatever. Behind me, I have a couple of Tommy guns. I use those because they give me such a warm and fuzzy feeling. I believe that guns are one of the necessary tools of my trade, because not everybody is what they appear to be. And I pray that I never have to use them, but it's nice to have that extra added protection in the event that things go amiss. Anyway, I hope I've answered some of your questions. Feel free to contact me anytime. I'm available almost any hour of the day or night. Look at this, my phone number is area code 702-561-9431. And I deal anywhere in the United States. I deal worldwide, but I'm hesitant to be shipping back and forth so much. So everybody sooner or later comes to Vegas. Please put me on your to-do list when you get here, and we'll get together, have toast, perhaps a nice dinner, and whether we do business or not, I'd enjoy meeting you in person. When some people say I'm not selling anything or whatever, I am. I'm selling silver, and I'm buying silver. That's what I do. So my videos are for your entertainment and for your knowledge. I'm not a financial advisor. I believe even though you are on your own, I'll be happy to listen to your questions. And remember this, there are no dumb questions. A lot of the many mistakes I made in life, I wish I would have asked a few dumb questions first. Anyway, it's always a pleasure seeing you. And I hope to see you again soon. And if you happen to become a guest in my beloved Las Vegas, don't hesitate to give me a call. Salute. Like I said, my website is thedukeoffremontstreet.com and ibuycoins.com. My Facebook is the Duke of Fremont Street. My Twitter is Duke of Fremont. And in the next video or so, I will be sharing with you some of my other contact information. A lot of you have asked how that you could support my channel, which I certainly appreciate. I certainly appreciate that. You have my total gratitude because of that. Anyway, I'll see you around my beloved Las Vegas. Stay well. So long.